The island is hiding something, and it's something big. I cannot think of any other logical explanation for what I witnessed today. Just know that I feel impure. That's the only word that comes to my mind when describing what I feel. Something unholy must have happened on that island, and I feel like it's my duty to find out. Before I get too ahead of myself and talk about what happened, I need to level with you for a second. Here's some new information I got. Remember in the last post when I told you to call me Delmar? You probably thought it was a completely random name, and in all honesty, I thought so too. Remember the name of the mystery Wi-Fi signal I was getting? It was Radio Nick. Those two names are linked. I dug a little deeper into the story of the island, and I found out that the original owner of the island was a man by the name of Delmar Nicholson. His nickname was Radio Nick. I couldn't find any records on him, but I did manage to get some information after interviewing some of the locals. They said he was the reclusive type. He seemed to have a dark cloud hovering around him at all times. He was antisocial and didn't really talk to anybody. I've even heard some claims that he was, get this, a Satanist. A fucking Satanist. That's a comforting thought while roaming the island previously owned by a freaking Satanist. On the other hand, I have heard claims that he was a Wiccan, or some kind of weird combination of both, or as they described it, a Wiccan that believes in the power of Satan. Just keep that in mind when you're reading what happened to me. I had just arrived on the island, and you could say I felt a little bit uneasy and kind of on edge armed with this new information. I still got that same feeling of dread as the day before, only this time I felt more sad than anything. I still entered the park determined to find out about this whole Radio Nick thing. I planned my route the night before, and my first stop was going to be the Explorer's Outpost. Judging by the name, it was some sort of employee area. I couldn't find any info on it, but I was going to trust my gut. I headed up the dock and took a left. There was a building with a thatch roof that had been splintered from the storm since the closing, and the walls were made out of various wooden sticks, most of them snapped in half. A small sign stood out front. Explorer's Outpost. I think I'm in the right place. Before proceeding inside, I looked up and remembered the position of the sun. I walked through what was left of the deteriorating front door into a tropical room. It had an information desk and some benches. All of the ropes that used to form lines had fallen over, and the door leading to the behind of the desk was blown apart, more so than most of the room. It was as if something forced its way into the back. I proceeded with caution into the back room. There was a room with a bunch of filing cabinets inside. Most of them hung open, and half the files were on the floor. The corner in particular was very dark, almost unnaturally dark, but something about it just made me freeze. Something turned its head around, and its eyes reflected the light coming in the room. The eyes lunged at me. The light revealed it was actually a vulture. It stopped short of my face, and instead of attacking me, it hovered while waving its wings at me, as if shooing me away. I fell on my back, and the vulture landed on the ground below it. It bowed its head at me. My heart was racing a mile a minute, but that gesture made me feel safe. It looked up at me and pointed its beak towards a cabinet. It tapped its beak on the face of the cabinet. It read, "Real estate." I opened up the cabinet as the vulture watched. Only about 5 folders were present. I take them. The vulture waved its wings. Okay, you got my attention. It taps its beak on another cabinet. It was the employee records. I take those as well. And to my surprise, when I turned around for more instructions, the vulture was just gone. I didn't hear it fly away or anything. It was just gone. I wouldn't say I fled the island. I briskly walked at the pace that you could compare to running in fear. I sat at the dock and waited for my buddy to come pick me up. When he arrived, I was so relieved, but as soon as I stepped onto the boat, this overwhelming feeling of fear and dread overcame me, and I felt really dizzy. I fell over into my buddy's arms, and he drove me home. He's a good friend. I took it easy from there. I still feel very uneasy and sad about, well, I don't know. I feel constricted for some reason, as if there is something looming over me, something that I couldn't control. Well, despite my mental condition, I'm still looking into what happened on the island. I should probably start looking through those papers. See you all soon.